Grand Bahama residents say they will endorse a move by the government to purchase the Grand Bahama International Airport. The Bahamas Union of Teachers having a change of heart regarding that trade dispute. And GirlCon 2019 underway on Grand Bahama. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shoshana Roll-Parkinson. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping the news tonight, it's been some 8 weeks since the passage of Hurricane Dorian, and Grand Bahama still does not have a fully operational airport. According to reports, the Grand Bahama International Airport is expected to open in the Freeport private airport on November 15 to accommodate the arrival of international flights. But in this report, some residents say that it is just taking too long and should have been top priority, as it is Grand Bahama's main port of entry. Natalia Hall has our top story. Some residents on Grand Bahama say the Grand Bahama International Airport is important for the survival of the economy of Grand Bahama. Since the passage of Hurricane Dorian, persons wanting to travel to the United States without a U.S. visa were forced to travel through New Providence, and for others with a U.S. visa on the Valeria or the Grand Celebration cruise ship. These residents say the current conditions are unacceptable for the nation's second city.
Making it cumbersome for the visitor to enjoy Freeport, okay? They shouldn't have to go through all of that, you know what I mean? Because at some point, we have to have enough to offer them, to attract them to want to go through all of that just to come here.
I don't feel good about it. They should have, by now, they should have done something. The airport should have been open somehow, some way.
Look around. We're sitting under a tent. It's the second island in the Bahamas, right? And we're sitting under a tent. Come on, something should have been done since the hurricane.
Well, the reopening of the airport is vitally important to the revitalization of Grand Bahama after the hurricane, because we all know that recovery means the ability for people to come in. We've been saying that we're open and we're inviting tourists to come in, but there's no way for them to come in. The boats certainly can bring them all in.
Some believe that it is time for the government to step in and assist by purchasing the airport.
That should have been done a long time ago, because Freeport is a next major city like Nassau, not as big, but you have lots of people living here.
I think it would be in the best interest of the Bahamian people to own all ports of exit and entry, because it will allow them to control prices, okay, landing fees, more flights would be able to come here, and the spin-off for taxi drivers, spin-off for all the vendors. We're not able to get anything at this time. The persons that own it now don't seem to have our best interests at heart.
I really think that the government should take responsibility for the airport and get it up and running for the sake of Grand Bahama and the people here on the island, instead of just waiting for Hutchinson to do whatever they think or what they're not going to do. I think it's now time for the government and the Port Authority to take full responsibility for what is happening with the airport and get it reopened and running, because it's going to be a major setback if it continues on this way.
Now, although reports say that the international airport will reopen on November 15th at the Fixed Base Operations Center, there is no word as to when U.S. pre-clearance will return. These residents considered it unfortunate and say a new state-of-the-art airport should be built.
And I don't even think the existing one before the storm was good enough. Okay, I think we should have a first world-class airport just like Nassau.
This airport down here is a disgrace. It looks like a warehouse. That should not be built like that. The design changed 3 times. The airport was supposed to build the airport in Nassau. First class.
We are closer to America, 60 miles from Florida. There's no reason for us to have these little hangars for international flights to be coming in and out. The way it was before, if it was a rainy day, the tourists have to stay on the plane until the rain over. I think it's an outright insult.
Italia Hall, ZNS Network News. The Bahamas Union of Teachers confirming that they will not be filing a trade dispute against the Ministry of Education today as initially planned, noting that they are pleased with the progress made overnight. You would recall that Area Vice President for Grand Bahama, Quentin Larota, told ZNS News yesterday that the union was filing a trade dispute, claiming that working conditions at the Hugh Campbell Primary School were unacceptable, as teachers were being forced to work in unsafe conditions. We were informed this morning that improvements were made last night and that the union is now happy that immediate attention is being given to their concerns. While the fallout continues in the Grand Bahama economy after incurring a significant loss due to flooding, a major employer confirms tonight that they've had to reduce staff. Italia Hall reports.
Dolly Madison lost some 90% of their inventory as well as their office spaces due to Hurricane Dorian. Since the storm, the store has been operating from a warehouse next to the retail store. General Manager James Roll says they are increasing the store's inventory daily.
Right now, that is not because there are some reconstruction that has to happen in the main store. But in the meantime, we just want to make sure that we are able to supply the general public with things that they need.
Now, since the passage of Hurricane Dorian, there were 2 downsizing exercises.
In the end of September, we did an exercise, and just a few days ago, we did another exercise because of the space that we have to operate in.
Roll says some 30 persons were let go.
Is that we don't have the capacity to carry all this personnel that we had before. We have, from you can see from here, we are very restricted in the operational space that we have, and it really does not warrant us to have that many persons on board.
The general manager says once the retail store is up and running again, more persons will be hired, and those whose jobs became redundant, they will have first preference for employment. Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
Switching gears now, scores of teenage girls taking part in GirlCon 2019 on board Carnival Glory cruise ship at the Freeport Harbor today. The students represent 11 high schools on Grand Bahama and the University of the Bahamas. Megan Shepard tells us the young women heard a compelling story from a top Carnival executive.
Some 350 young girls on the islands of Grand Bahama coming together for the annual GirlCon seminar. Now, following the passage of Hurricane Dorian, this seminar almost didn't happen. But founder and president of the Senate, Senator the Honorable Kate Smith, says she and the panelists believe that this event was necessary in order to give the girls an outlet and inspiration following Hurricane Dorian. This year's theme is When Your World Changes.
It was absolutely necessary. You know, when we think about not just, people think about the parents and they think about the businesses and through this whole Dorian fiasco, but then, you have to think about the kids and what is the impact of this kind of disaster? What does that have on the kids? And I think for that reason we were struggling to put this on, but Carnival came and said, yes, we can do it. There was a bit of, you had to consider all the logistics involved with getting 350 passengers on the boat in a timely manner so that we can start the program as we need it. But it was important. It was necessary. We want to talk to these kids, and this is not just a one-off event. As you know, we take the kids to the Commission and Status of Women in New York. We're going to do that again in March. We're going to have to work hard and dig deep to make it happen.
President of Carnival Cruise Line, Christine Duffy, sharing her story with the girls. She says that her dream was to work as a flight attendant and travel the world. But unfortunately, she did not meet the 5 feet 4 inches requirement. But now she is president of the largest cruise line in the world. Duffy encouraged the girls to take the unconventional path in life and to be open when life doesn't go according to plan.
In 2015, I became the first female president of Carnival Cruise Line. As you know, Carnival is the flagship brand for Carnival Corporation, the world's most popular cruise line with over 5 million guests who will sail with us this year, and we are getting close to pushing towards over 900,000 children who will sail with their families on our ships.
She shared some of the life lessons she's learned over the years.
You need to find those mentors, find the people who believe in you and can help you swim that much faster. Don't wait for people to give you the opportunities, look for them yourself. And rather than resenting the fact that maybe we have to swim a little harder because we're women, look at it as it's giving us extra muscle to build your skills, to become a stronger leader. Now, clearly, I have taken an unconventional path. I have a very challenging job, but I am surrounded by an amazing team of people.
Duffy also noted the importance of following your dreams and being open to achieving them in unconventional ways.
You don't have to become president of a cruise line to choose your path. It could be starting your own business. It could be the opportunity to go back to school, trying something completely different, and sometimes summoning the courage to quit the job that you hate and start over to do something that you love. That is the beauty of taking the unconventional path. It shouldn't be defined for you, it should be defined by only you.
The girls then had an open question and answer period with 5 panelists that are breaking barriers in traditionally male-dominated professions. Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
The Bahamas Christian Council coming under fire tonight as a local organization questions their priorities. Tonight, the founder of Silent No More says the same energy being used to stop the LGBTQ community from having Pride Week in the Bahamas should be used on the fight to protect children throughout this country. It is all over the headlines. The Bahamas Christian Council plans to stage an anti-gay rally as early as this month to protest against the LGBTQ's plans to hold a Pride Week next year. The Christian Council has been met with some criticism on social media, as many have questioned why the organization is selective in what they will speak out on. Cindy Gaudette, founder of Silent No More, a group that counsels and assists victims of sexual and domestic abuse, says while it is expected for the council to take a stance against Pride Week, she says they have been more silent on issues such as a sexual molestation, adding that just this year, a march against child predators was somewhat successful on Grand Bahama, but it was poorly attended by Christian leaders in the capital.
It was very poorly attended, and hardly any support was given by the Bahamas Christian Council. If memory serves me correctly, there were only 2 persons from the Christian Council who attended that march.
According to a local daily, President of the Bahamas Christian Council, Bishop Dalton Fernandez, said the church must stand up and ring the bell against the celebration of something that contravenes God's word, adding that they will also call upon his global colleagues to stand against Sodom and Gomorrah. Gaudette questions why this same energy is not used to protect the most vulnerable among us.
It's my personal opinion that the reason why the Bahamas Christian Council has been relatively silent on the issue of child molestation is because there have been so many allegations of child molestation that has been levied against church leaders. And let's be honest, we know that sexual abuse happens in the church. And so I feel as though they don't want to take a stance against this issue. Maybe they feel it will hurt their church membership. Maybe they feel it will hurt their financial backing. I'm not sure what their fear is, but it's obvious that they do not want to come with the full weight of the church, and they don't want the full energy of the council protesting child molestation. If they wanted to do it, they would have done it already.
She contends that the LGBTQ community is not more of a threat than child molesters.
And as a Christian nation, the church as a whole in this nation is not coming together and unifying to protect our children. We're not having bodies on the ground and beating the streets to protect our children, but we are going to beat the streets to fight against the consensual acts of adults. That is extremely hypocritical, and it speaks to how messed up our priorities are. Who is more vulnerable in our society than children? No one. But we're not voicing like we should. We're not agitating like we should. And as a Christian nation, the Christian Council, the Bahamas Christian Council, should be front and center on this issue. But they've been in the background.
And Gaudette is making this appeal.
Speak up and speak out on the issue, and do it continually, not just because people are starting to hold your feet to the fire. Say what needs to be said in regards to the fact that our children need to be protected, that child molesters need to be exposed in and out of the church, and put your weight where it needs to go. Our children are in danger. They need to be protected. They need leaders to speak out for them. And they have so much weight in this country. So use it where it matters.
Stay with us. There's more news right after the break.